My name is Derek Brown. I'm the head brewer currently at Tin Whiskers Brewing Company. I'm actually kind of the assistant brewer, cellarman, maintenance guy too, electrician recently. Any of the mash chemistry or anything like that gets done in the mash kettle, but we bring the water from the HLT over into it underneath the bottom here. It's called UnderLetting. So you can see, as far as the underletting goes, it comes from the bottom floor up. It then forces any of the air that's trapped underneath the false bottom out. Grain goes in the top, it mixes in with the water. It's gonna sit in there for whatever your mash rest dictates. That's where the enzymes are gonna go and attack the sugars and extract those. We use time and temperature to manipulate enzymes to get the sugar profile that we want. From there, let it sit. Once the mash rest is over, we're gonna pump it over into our kettle, and we're gonna start pulling it from the bottom. And while it's being pulled from the bottom, we're gonna take water at about the 168 degrees or 76 degrees Celsius, throw it on top. So as you're throwing fresh water on top and pulling that sugary water down from the bottom, it's gonna start washing the grain of all the sugar and freeing up all that sugar. Once we get this kettle full to where we need it to be, we're gonna throw on some heat. We're gonna boil that for anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, depending on what beer you're after. You're gonna add hops throughout the boil. When you first throw them in at the beginning of the boil, you're gonna get more isomerization or more bittering compounds coming out of the hops. If you want like a certain flavor profile, you're gonna throw them in at the very end. And from there, we're gonna whirlpool it. After the boil's done, toss it around really fast and force all that hops that we add in there, any little grain particles might be in there, any protein flocks, gonna force those out to the bottom, and they're gonna form a cone. After that cone's formed, we're gonna pump it from the bottom. There's a little port on the side here that's just on the outside of that cone, so you're not actually taking any of that hop matter or anything like that. You're gonna pump that over, and this is our hop back. You can either fill this with whole leaf hops, or in the case of the Wheatstone, we fill this with chamomile. You could put many different things in there if you wanted to flavor the beer. That's gonna run through our heat exchanger here. So one side of the heat exchanger, you have cold water running, and then the other side you have the hot wort. So you're extracting that energy or pulling that energy and transferring it into the water, and we're actually sending that water over top of our brew house back into our HLT or our hot liquor tank. That way we have 150 degree water waiting there for our next batch. We don't have to heat it up as much, the energy's already there. It's just being more efficient. So from here we're gonna use it, we're gonna send it over into one of our fermenters. These fermenters have a conical bottom. That way when the yeast are done, they've eaten through the sugars, they're starting to flocculate out of solution. They get together in these little balls. And they come to the bottom and they hit that side of the wall, and they all fall and they form this nice little cone. Very middle is a nicely packed, creamy harvest. That conical shape helps us capture that a lot easier. This doesn't have that conical shape, it's got more of a dish bottom. This is our bright tank. So when the beer's done, you lager it, you fine it out in there. Fining is putting in solutions to help the yeast get out of solution to clear up the beer so you don't have to filter. You are gonna carbonate it in here, inject carbonation, CO2 right in through the center, or you can fine it a little bit more in here if you feel like it needs a little more clearing up. A lot of breweries will actually filter going into the bright tank. So again, this is where you're gonna keg it, or you can serve it directly from here, depending on the brew house, whatever they feel that they wanna do.